Former Trudeau cabinet minister sent the law back to the city for revisions after hearing from delegates who called the law dangerous and undemocratic. Those are the poison pills. You see, if councillors vote down the anti-protest law because it's anti-free speech and unconstitutional, they end up voting down all the good things in the law. Edmonton's poison pill anti-protest bylaw is delayed after debate. The newly proposed restrictions on public spaces would offer fines for those participating in or organizing an event or protest without a permit when the demonstration has 50 or more attendees. Council, led by Mayor Amarjeet Sohi, a former Trudeau cabinet minister, sent the law back to the city for revisions after hearing from delegates who called the law dangerous and undemocratic. The same activists who pushed the law now worry about being caught up in it. The law would also outlaw amplifiers like megaphones in all public spaces, which would regulate street preachers that pride organizers find offensive. As reported in Global News, in January, Pride Corner on White Avenue and Calgary Trail started when a group routinely showed up to protest a street preacher who was using a loudspeaker to make anti-LGBTQ comments. It's pretty loud and obnoxious, so we wanted to do something about it, said Erin Christie with Pride Corner. So we started it. Pride Corner's on board to see this bylaw go through. Except now Pride Corner's not, because the law doesn't only target their political enemies, it targets them too. Look at this from Wednesday night. Claire Pirin with Pride Corner on White, a local organization dedicated to creating safer spaces on the streets of Edmonton and protesting anti-LGBTQ+ rhetoric, worries that the bylaw would limit people's right to protest. We are experiencing unprecedented circumstances both locally and abroad that draw people and communities together that advocate for these causes. Our freedom to speak cannot be limited by a permit, said Pirin. Careful what you wish for, Claire, because you just might get it. Bylaw 20700, proposed earlier this year, of course, affronts civil liberties and the right to peaceful assembly. And the proponents of the law know it. They just didn't think that it would target them. That's why they made it an all-encompassing omnibus proposal full of just about everything, even good things that promote public safety, public health, and civilized behavior in our publicly funded facilities. You see, the law also adds that spitting in public or being caught biking off a designated park pathway on the grass could result in a $250 ticket. The bylaw adds fines for public drug use, panhandling, fare dodging, and loitering on public transit. The legislation would ban panhandling along roads and medians and outlaw ice skating on the North Saskatchewan River. Bylaw 20700 would require life jackets to be worn on any vessel in the North Saskatchewan River, but the riverboat would be exempt. Food trucks and carts would be allowed to operate in parks and on roads without requiring a specific peddler's permit. People would not be allowed to set off fireworks or firecrackers in any location without a permit. The bylaw, for some reason, also bans bear spray and similar liquids, brass knuckles, and electrical current devices like tasers in public places. Tasers are prohibited weapons federally, but okay. There's also a new $250 fine for consuming liquor in a public place. There's a $500 fine for having restricted dogs in off-leash areas. There's a restriction on scattering cremated ashes, except in the river valley and on open water. And you can't be a musical busker on city buses. Okay, some of that stuff seems very, very exceptionally reasonable there. And that's the thing. Those are the poison pills. You see, if councillors vote down the anti-protest law because it's anti-free speech and unconstitutional, they end up voting down all the good things in the law. The city should break the law up into little pieces and debate the issues separately and pass it that way. But if I had to guess, the Trudeau Liberal running the show in conservative Alberta's capital city will find a way to apply the rules politically. You see? Emergencies Act for the trucker convoy while pro-Hamas protesters get invited into the House of Commons. Free Palestine! Stop harming Israel! Free Palestine! Stop harming Israel! For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. If indeed this bylaw does pass, you better believe that Rebel News journalists will be out there on the streets covering these so-called illegal public assemblies. To support our ongoing journalistic coverage from the field, please go to rebelfieldreports.com.